Good morning.
Good morning.
I love that they get to see me, but all that they see of you is you're cheating, Aubrey. I mean, they see you, but that's not. It's fine.
Well, I'm sorry. We are out of webcam in my household, and I didn't realize that the webcam was gone. So it might not. It's very possible that it could be around here.
Hmm.
But where my partner decides to put things is a matter of mystery to me. The
Yeah.
logic behind it is like a big old question mark.
Just because you admitted to stealing, I will let you pass for this one. That was very brave of you.
Oh, thank you.
Regardless, hello. It is I, Mason. Mason. I am here for puzzles.
Puzzles.
Your turn.
Hi, I'm Aubrey, and I'm here to talk, to gab, to jib jab, to be a little chatty Cathy. Not
Wow.
sponsored.
Maybe someday. Well, anyway.
I I don't even know who owns the rights to chatty Cathy these days.
Oh, I just mean getting sponsored in general is just an eventual goal. Maybe. Who knows? I mean, wouldn't it be cool to like never be sponsored? Like I think that's where I'm starting to get at this point in our podcasting career. I almost want us to get successful doing our own shit, and then we just also have a podcast on the side that no one literally gives a shit about or pays us for at all, but we still just do it. Why don't we just do that? And Julie, why don't we just like do everything for this and never get paid for it? Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, it would be, I suppose. But I think in order to get paid, you kind of have to have sponsors.
But like,
I think it's not really I think you gotta.
no, I mean like we'll just like you'll be a doctor and I'll be it's like some kind of famous ventriloquist of some kind, and we'll just also be doing this on the side, completely unrelated. But like this is the thing that we do the stuff for, but like it's free. But like the other stuff we get paid billions of dollars for. You know what I'm saying? But then you need
Yeah,
then you think the thing that we're actually doing that we want to do is we can still do it how we want to because it's free.
yeah.
Because that's I don't know. I feel like that's where the problems happen is when it's I feel like this medium specifically is so essentially personal that as soon as it's not real,
That's why I
it's
prefer an ad
uncanny.
break. Then it feels like the ads don't have to do with what the person's saying, you know?
Right. I feel like that was the natural solution to the podcasting frame to like completely separate it like it's almost its own commercial. I feel like YouTube is getting a little bit crazy in the way that they're kind of like making ads segues as part of their usual like the YouTube video now. It's getting kind of I don't know, intrusive. Like it was fun at first, but I feel like it's really also like shoving products into content at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
It
I
it's it
can
does
agree with that.
like cuz it's not even like a commercial like that cuts away from what you're doing. It's almost like this immersion breaking moment where the person that is talking about the thing that you're interested in is now talking about like a thing that you should buy. And it doesn't like it generally it doesn't seem disingenuous, but genuinely it it's always for the same like five products, and I can't help but feel that no matter like what each person does for it, like it feels like almost this little dog and pony dance where these companies are harnessing personalities' voices to convince their followers to go buy the thing.
Yeah.
It's not just advertising for the sake of advertising. It's advertising that's like insanely targeted for this, like, to get into your head, and it's forced. And like that's the thing, when you take the content.
Is this what you came here to talk about today?
No, not the fuck at all. But honestly, I'm on a goddamn tangent right
Damn.
now. I have something to say right now. Okay.
Then
Um,
say it.
I'm pissed about this. Cause like, say in the world where like everything is archived, 100 years past. Video cassette tapes are a thing now, but like they can hold about like years worth of content. And you put like a whole person's YouTube channel on a VHS tape, and then you also just have just like a regular VHS tape from, whenever they were originally a thing. The original VHS tape, though some of them do have separate trailer ads at the beginning, I will admit, their content, like old TV shows and recordings of TV shows, like a lot of them are completely devoid of any kind of advertising or irrelevant merchandising content. Whereas like when you
I think
do
they would
this,
sneak it in more covert ways. Like, think about, like, this is a way they sneak it in that you don't think about, is like when you watch. So for example, I've been watching the new part 1 of season 4 of Stranger Things. There is branding everywhere in that show. You just don't really realize it because they don't talk about it, but like Coke cans. The Coke can is used like throughout all of the seasons
mm-hmm,
because that's like 11 crushes it with her mind, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is low key an advertisement for Coke." Like,
yeah,
obviously they had to have a discussion if it was going to be there, because I've also seen a lot of other stuff with like the props that they make to look like real brands, but they have to change them. They can't make them real brands. So it's just interesting to me when they do have the real brands, and I think in older television and stuff like that, they would use the real brands
mm-hmm,
as like sort of an advertisement.
hmm. I mean, that's fair. Like that has been a thing. Like even back in like the 50s and shit. There's been people that have bought into like subliminal ads. But
Yeah, your
I don't
favorite
know.
character loves to drink Diet Coke, now so do you.
That is fair, but that is at least something that you could still relate to, even of it being of a past time. I feel like it feels a little bit different and a little bit more relatable than talking about Raid Shadow Legends. Raid
Oh,
Shadow
gee,
Legends.
yeah, if one more influencer goes Raid Shadow Legends, I'm gonna like fist punch through my screen. It's ridiculous because I'm like, none of you fucking play this, and I don't believe for a minute that you do. Like, not a one of you.
Yeah. But then I guess is what I should bring this back around to, so I don't just keep ranting for another 10 minutes. The reason I even bring this up is I feel like podcasting has kind of like, in its own way, congealed and created its positive, non-toxic way of advertising, where they specifically, your people, tell you that time, like they block it off like it's an ad, usually in the
Yeah, and
middle,
they're
at the
they're like, let
start.
me tell you what I like about BetterHelp, and it's like, you don't use BetterHelp. You literally don't.
Yeah, and
Why
there
pretend like you do?
there I mean, yeah, there is that level of disingenuity. Is that a word? I'm gonna pretend it is right now because I need to move on. uh, with that podcasting marketing too, but like at least where the ads coming in, and it's easy to skip, and it feels separate from what you're watching instead of
Yeah.
grossly interwoven into it, like a lot of YouTube ads tend to be
Right.
nowadays. Which,
Yeah.
you know, to be to be fair, the YouTube payment system has is changed a lot over the years and is very strange and complicated and a lot that I don't want to get into. But and podcasting has only really had one sort of idea and method for payment for the most part. Either just, the way that they do it, or being part of a larger conglomerate that gives you people to talk about, you know?
Mhm.
It's all just the method of having that ad break, I guess, right now. But anyway, do you wanna do a podcast? Do you wanna do a podcast today?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is in fact what I did come here to do, believe it or not.
Okay, I can shut up now. So, sorry we've been gone for a while, guys. It's been 1 week since I've looked at you, and I miss it. I've been missing being here so bad, and it's been tough, but we just have not had the grace and ability to find those miracle days where we can record like we used to.
Right, at the moment we're doing more full-time job stuff and in between and as well as like changing jobs and things like that. So it's been a hectic time, as I'm sure it has been for most people, but
Yeah. I my whole
we're
thing is that
we're
like
happy to get
I
back to it.
yeah, like we're really happy. We're fucking psyched to be here, and I'm so happy to talk about this bullshit that I'm about to ramble about on for maybe an hour. We'll see. But what the most important thing is I just, I feel like we are starting to create something that people want to listen to and want to give a shit about, and I just want everyone to know and understand that we do too. And I feel like to do that we need to put out content. And it just the kind of content that I want to put out is high quality and takes work. So it doesn't behoove me to just throw shit out there and not care. I
Yeah.
I just feel like if I'm going to be doing something, I'm going to put enough effort into it, and that shit takes time. Um,
Yeah.
and damn, so does school, and so does making ends meet. But we're still
Right.
here.
But there are certain things that it's like, oh, this gives me this energizes me and makes me want to do the pod, which segues into to my topic. Um,
Yeah.
it,
Mm-hmm.
we recently discovered a game and feel like
Very recently.
currently our group of friends is in a solo gamer era. So, we haven't really necessarily been playing a lot of the same games or anything like that, but
Mm-hmm.
I bought this one so that, everybody could watch me play on the side while they're playing whatever they're doing. And
As we be doing.
and it seemed like an interesting one that would require some choices to be made. Uh this game is called Wobble Dogs. I've been following it for a little while on Steam. Came out in March of 2022.
Oh,
I
the
think I saw
wobblies.
it I think I saw it in early April, and then it got suggested again to me today. Or no, not today. It got suggested to me yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and buy it. I'm real curious. And after showing Mason, Mason was like, you know what? Yeah, buy it. Absolutely, I'll watch you play this. So I was like, okay,
It
I've
was
heard. That's all I
immediate.
needed.
It was immediate. I knew.
Yeah.
It was quality.
I wanted to go ahead and read some reviews for this game because I think that this helps explain the game a little more than just the regular description. The about this game really just reads that Wobble Dogs is a 3D pet simulation where you raise your own personal hive of rapidly mutating dogs, physically simulated all the way down to their guts. It's a casual and chill sandbox experience for players of all ages who want to care for their very own virtual pets in a surprising, unique, and stress-free environment. The dogs start out relatively normal, but can mutate and behave in surprising ways as the game progresses and their evolutionary lines advance. Like, honestly, the way I would describe it is like a fun little cute dog mutation evolution game. And it's
Oh
not
yeah.
like it doesn't work like the typical ways that dogs work, like they hatch from eggs and when they mutate they go into cocoons. So it's a fun like
Yeah.
fantasy thing. Like
It's
this is not your typical this is how we crossbreed dogs. But I will say it does make you realize the horrors of crossbreeding dogs.
it is the simulation is definitely a simulation, and God, it lets you know that. I actually went a little bit too far with re-randomizing my new puppies to the point that I almost glitched out the game from how it was sounding, but that was probably intended. Probably.
I think.
Um
The first time I saw this game, this was the review I read that made me think, I need to keep my eye on this game. This comes from E-Girl Bongwater on Steam.
Wait,
And
we're
it is a
reading a Steam
review.
review?
Yeah,
We haven't done that in like 20 episodes, Aubrey.
I know. I wanted to bring it back.
You
There
were
were
just
some
gonna
real
fucking.
bangers in
You were
here.
just gonna slide it in here like it was ain't fucking nothing, though. What the hell?
Well,
Bro,
it's
this is a.
not a lewd review. It's just a odd one.
They're strange. I feel like it still counts. It's weird shit.
Yeah, this is true. So, E-Girl Bongwater writes under her recommended review, this game has a genuinely disturbing, almost evil underlying atmosphere. It feels like a game you'd play in the back rooms. I have a tiny dog with broken legs named Piss Fingers, whom I feed the souls of his deceased brethren, that they cannibalize immediately upon death, to extend his lifespan like a disgusting spider-legged vampire. Piss Fingers has utterly destroyed my gene pool, and his descendants are rapidly devolving into dog centipedes. I only let them eat onion
Oh
rings in hopes they'll grow wings, but it does nothing but shrink their bodies and legs into nothing as I'm forced to watch them inch along the dirt and slowly die.
my god. I don't think I've gotten that far yet.
Oh, yeah.
My dogs have mostly been turning into rats. I actually just had to quarantine all the rat boys so that they're not all rats. It's getting pretty bad actually. But honestly, this is you don't see a lot of games like this, especially ones that just kind of come out of nowhere from a pretty unknown developer. Or maybe that is the
Yeah.
case, I don't know. It's just it is so creative and yet so like creatively sinister in a way that like you really do like someone put a lot of thought not only into like the physics and the creation and the ideas and like the methods of making it fun and interactive, but also the the effort they put into like the tinge, just like the weird, uncanny nature of it. It reminds me of something else very cursed that I really don't want to bring up for reasons of not wanting to be related to it. The Sonic Dreams collection. There, I said it. The game's art style reminds me of Sonic's Dreams collection, especially the laying eggs thing, and I hate to say that because I don't want to explain to you why.
I mean, why won't you explain to me why?
Because I'm pretty sure there's a thing where one of the Sonic characters lays an egg, dude. I don't know. I don't want to fucking evoke these things into our podcast.
Yeah, that's true. If I let you talk about Sonic, you'll go on forever, because we all know how
No,
much you love
that's
Sonic.
literally this is why I didn't want to
Anyways,
fucking.
back to the review. We've got some pretty solid other reviews here. We've got one from Slendermon, and this is another recommended review. Keep that in mind. These reviews are horrific, but they recommend playing the game.
Every single
Got my
one of
first
them.
dog, Pancake. Played with him, fed him, loved him, got some more dogs for Pancake. Pancake played with them, was best friends with Randy. Watched Pancake grow older and change with the minutes. Always happy and playful. I loved Pancake. Proceeds to die right in front of me. My other four dogs then come over and eat his dead body right in front of me, all while I'm still in shock that dogs can die in this game. 10 out of 10 game, taught me more about loss than my parents ever did. End of review.
Yeah, they're definitely there. It is a full blown simulation in this game where like the animals do live and breathe and last and perish unless you manage to extend their lives with the souls of other animals for some reason. I don't want to get into that unless you want to, but it's yeah. I don't know why they fall into pieces and then the other dogs eat the corpses. I don't know. I don't know, dude. It's what they do. They just do it. You can't stop them. You literally can't stop them. Aubrey,
Oh, you
have you ever tried to stop them
from
from eating arms?
Oh, yeah, as long as you destroy the bodies before they get to them, they won't eat them. But a lot of the
Yeah,
times they do want to play with the head. I found they really do.
I got
Eating
one
the
to bury a
body, if they're
head.
hungry, they'll do it. Yeah.
Bro, every time that one of my dogs has died, I have tried to at least get some of them to walk away so I have a second to do something about it. And every single time they're like, I don't want to do that. And they just start tearing the fucking soul up. Oh my god, dude. These little rats are ravenous. This is a wonderful game. You will have some wonderfully cute, terrific dogs in your time, but do know that there is trauma attached. You won't get out for free, and that is my recommendation of Wobble Dogs. Do you have any more you'd like to share? By
I
the way, I have been pulling up pictures of examples of some dogs for the stream,
Oh,
so
good.
the video users can see.
Yeah, and you can eat, the way you get them to mutate is getting them to eat different things so their gut bacteria is different. So I find that to be really interesting.
It's something, yeah. I don't. It's
And it's really odd things, and they impact them in ways that are not, I mean, obviously real, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, like the French fries literally make them the shape of French fries. It's not unhealthy. It's just weird.
Ham sandwich makes them ham shaped, yeah,
Oh
too.
my god,
So,
I didn't know that. Thank you for
oh
telling me.
oh, yeah, I've unlocked I think about 55% of the achievements.
Damn.
So I've been doing pretty good.
You've owned this game for less than 24 hours, Aubrey.
Yeah,
What
I
the
have
fuck?
5 hours on record and have already halfway completed the achievements in one of my games. But the cool thing is like you unlock things for completing them in your different gameplays, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can, if you want, you can start multiple like separate hives in one save. And
Mm-hmm.
if you want to start over, you can start another save separately.
Mm-hmm.
Create
So,
as many weird atrocities against God as you want.
no, that's a tagline. So, do you have anything more you'd like to cover, or would you like to bring up the other reason why you brought this in today?
I mean that was really it. I figured, was there another reason that I brought this in today?
Oh, the YouTube thing that we were talking about.
Oh yeah, we were gonna film like a little let's play of Wobble Dogs, like start one from the
Mm-hmm.
beginning and like show some of the game mechanics and upload it to the YouTubes.
Yeah, like I've kind of petered out on both of my series I was working on there, and we're trying to get more people over to it also. So if this strange recommendation sounds good to you, come check it out. We're gonna start uploading it soon, and this will be the first one that has both of us in it. So
Yeah,
be excitement, be excitement now.
be excitement now.
Anyway, time for the break. Okay, so we're done. Hey guys, we're back. I hope you enjoyed it, all of it, because we did too. So I'll be honest. In this day and age, it's a little bit hard for me to get outside for any old reason. I'm sure anybody can relate to that. In a time like this, people who are here, who understand me, you get it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say when, so that way you can always get it.
For sure.
Wink, wink, wink. Anyway, what I like to do to help me get outside is to give myself a specific purpose. And because we live in the modern age, the easiest and most stress-free way to give yourself a purpose is gamifying it. So, what better way to get outside than to solve puzzles, Aubrey? That's right, puzzles. Today I want to talk about some kind of very large scale, some would say the largest scale kinds of puzzles that exist, the ARG, otherwise known as alternate reality game.
Okay.
There's a specific purpose
So
to why.
you just mean VR, like virtual reality, right?
Oh, no. This is much older than VR. This is something that existed for nerds way before we had the technology to let us just be outside while we're inside. No. An ARG is very specifically known as an interconnective and networked narrative that uses the real world as a platform and employs transmedia storytelling to deliver story that may be altered by players' ideas or actions. An ARG is kind of like a it's like an escape room almost, but it's a little bit more loose-ended that requires I don't know, like the whole world is the escape room almost. And what you are given are very specific clues by the developers of these ARGs to go to places, to look at like old advertisements, to look at like unlisted YouTube videos of the likes if it's a more creepy related one. There's a lot of creepy ARGs out there, but mystery goes hand in hand with horror. So, unsurprising.
For sure.
Unsurprising. Once again, there's a specific reason I bring up ARGs today, but I can't get to that yet. I have to focus. I'm really trying to focus for you guys today. I really, this one means a lot to me. ARGs, I believe I actually finally got an answer from Fern for a recommended ARG to bring up, so I believe the stalling has finally paid out. Interesting. Something called the Mandela Catalog sounds pretty spooky. I don't know if that's like a Mandela effect thing or if it's
That's
like
what I'm assuming.
It says it's an analog horror, so I think it's something else. Oh, you know what? There's another very recent game that I think I've mentioned that is an ARG. There is a game called Inscription. If you remember, Aubrey. It came out about a year ago. A lot of people were really, really intensely into it, including myself. It is kind of a multi-stage game that tricks you and evolves over the course of it, but that's not quite so important. What is more so important is at the end, there is still a lot left open for interpretation and a lot of still like uncoded, unused answers, unused clues, and things like that existed at the end of the game. So what ended up happening whenever Inscription first came out, and what many people didn't know about with this game, is that a large group of the fan base that first bought it when it came out figured out that there was an ARG secretly placed within the game that was to be started when the game was released, and it was about the game. Where you end up,
Huh.
because like in the game, there's a cutscene where the main character buries the floppy disk of Inscription. Like I won't get into the meta narrative of it; it's for a different episode. But you actually like there were actually a group of 5 people that showed up at the real location where they filmed that in Canada with the developers at a planned time. Whenever once they got to that part of the clue section, and they went and dug up that floppy disk that they like recorded burying there for the game. It was kind of a magical moment, and all this shit happened like at the beginning of this game, and like you wouldn't even know about this whole like honestly like third of the content that existed unless you started going down your own research rabbit holes of this game. Um, and I just find that very interesting because, like, at the end of the day, a video game is an interactive experience that you, in some way, exchange with to try to, like, there. If the win condition is understanding, then you really can go so far with it to the point that I mean, like, is to say that it kind of stops being a digital experience and is an actual literal treasure hunt, like a scavenger hunt or like geocaching. It's all, like literally an ARG like devolves into geocaching at some point or time in it. Um, there's another really. Do you have any? I don't want to stamp over you. I do have another one, but I don't want to.
No, yeah, it's just a lot to take in. Like, I,
Like there were cutscenes in the game where like the main character was doing his own search of the ARG ahead of everybody else, and
that's,
he had like sticky notes of things on his laptop in the background during the cutscene that you get in the middle of the game while you're playing it, and people realized that those freaking post-it notes were the main character figuring out and decoding the fucking code that was put in the game for the ARG, and that's how they got their clue. And it's just wild, like the kind of things that these creators devise. It's insane. Like, and as someone who grew up playing tabletop Dungeons and Dragons and shit like that, it's even mind-boggling to me, honestly.
yeah, like the fact it's kind of like honestly, like when I'm out when I've done like geocaching, because honestly, that's the only thing I can even
Relate to
relate
here.
to have. Yeah, like or well, an escape room would be different because it's owned by somebody. Somebody's like upkeeping it. Like the geocaches, sometimes it's like, damn, I'm surprised this is even still here. Like you just gotta rely on the people, find the audience of it essentially to.
Yeah, right. And I mean, like, there are so many of us out there. You're bound to find a few weirdies that just can't stop but solving a mystery. And I mean, I feel like I consider myself one of them. It's just I'm not all that good at doing the whole solving thing, so it makes it a bit tough to engage sometimes. That's the thing.
Mhm.
The one issue that I will mention with this game genre, of this stuff, whatever you want to call it, is what ARGs are, is that like you if you weren't there for when the people first figured it out and solved it, it's kind of already just I mean it's just history at that point. You're kind of just looking over the files of people solving it unless you really want to try to go in blind and do it for yourself. But I mean like the physical, like no one can go back and go get that floppy disk now. No one can do that anymore, and it's all already like well documented, so it's hard not to look up. Anyway, I need to move on to my next one. Skeleton Creek. Does this ring a bell? Does this ring anybody's bell? Skeleton Creek was a book series that you may have seen at your scholastic school.
I don't
book
think
fair.
I am familiar with that one.
This one is a really big one that I've talked to with Fern about many a time. But it is a book series that actually intends for you to go like take YouTube links off of the book at the end of chapters to go and watch video files of the narrator go like they talk about going to locations and then they film a video of them searching through this location, and it's kind of like it's honestly it was kind of what's the shitty not Exorcist, no those are good, Poltergeist, no, the bad ghost movies, the bad found footage ghost movies. They make a lot of them. There's a ton of them now. They're ghost movies. It's always somebody putting a
Oh, Paranormal Activity?
Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that vibe. It was like kind of found footage.
Okay.
There's like ghosts edited into it sort of vibe, but it's more skeleton-y and much, I don't know, like it's more aware of itself, and it was honestly like genuinely creepy for being a child's product in a way. But it's really interesting because like you actually go back and solve puzzles on the website that link off of the YouTube pages, and you kind of get more parts of the story if you solve things that are kind of, it actually is kind of its own like ARG. I don't know if there's a physical location sort of thing going on with it, but you do have to read a book for it, which is pretty unique. That's my second example of an ARG. That is one too, if you have heard of that book series.
I maybe, but I never read it.
That's okay. What's more is that you understand what I'm talking about. Because the reason I bring up ARGs, the main reason I wanted to talk about ARGs today, I will go more in depth on specific ones in the future once I have more research done on them, but today I want to talk about an ARG that I just finished playing over the course of the last 3 months. One that I feel like a lot of people wouldn't generally assume is an ARG, because I don't think anybody ever has before. But today I'm here to tell you, guys, I think Elden Ring was like a digital ARG. Hear me out. New segment.
What?
New segment. Hear me out. Questions?
In which the listener protests to everything being said.
Yeah. Did you have? You sounded like you had something to say.
No, just continue, because I'll interject once. I mean, you said just hear you out, so.
Okay, so I know there is a very large discrepancy in the fact that Elden Ring is a video game that you play with a controller and you don't actually do any kind of like real like decrypting or puzzle solving. This I understand, but I will get back to that. First, I want to talk about, I don't know. There's a lot more about Elden Ring other than that I feel like there is to analyze before I get back to it. So
but no, you gotta say now what then qualifies it as an ARG if it's a video game and there's also no puzzle solving, because now I'm confused. At first, my only protest was it's a video game, but now I'm like, there's no puzzle solving.
First off, there is actually puzzle solving in Elden Ring. In here, in a very literal sense, it's unrelated to what I feel like I want to talk about, but in a very literal sense, there are magical towers that you climb at certain points that have to do with arcane wizards. I'm not joking.
Yeah, I would consider those things puzzles.
Where you have to find and solve puzzles. That is a puzzle in a very base form. I actually kind of skipped most of that the first time I played because I didn't want to deal with it. It's fine. I was doing a strength build. Regardless, there are other aspects to puzzle solving and adventuring, and there is an adventurous and explorative soul that exists within this game that I feel like scratches the same itch that an ARG does. And it's And it's not what happens just in the game in Elden Ring. It's what happens outside of and after you play the game, which is why I feel like I'm able to somewhat justify calling this an ARG.
Okay.
Elden Ring does not explain any of its lore or who its characters are at all. It does not in any way explain to you why you're doing what you're doing, when certain characters die, who certain characters are, and why the fuck anybody's doing what they're
Yeah,
doing.
that honestly, that's my problem. Like the problem for me with Elden Ring and Souls type games is, yeah, are they beautiful? Absolutely. Are the fighting mechanics really great and challenging? Yeah, absolutely. But for me as a person, it's not that I want something that's easy per se, but like I at least want something in the game that makes me want to continue to progress through this brutal torture gameplay.
And I
In which I have
honestly,
to keep
yeah.
doing the same shit over and over again. But instead I just get a really long cutscene in the beginning that doesn't tell me anything,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then a bunch of long monologues from characters who I don't know who they are and what they're talking about. Fuck if I know. Maidenless? What the fuck does that mean? Anybody gonna tell me? No? Oh, okay, cool, awesome.
So yeah, that is the
Uh,
experience for almost everybody that starts this game. But I mean, like in all honesty, like it's not something that starts in Elden Ring. Miyazaki, the man who created all of these games, has a
Not to be
certain
confused with Miyazaki, Hayao Miyazaki.
the one who made the Ghibli stuff. Yeah, different guys, still very creative, wonderful men, just awesome, awesome minds, and I love that they're there. But I'm talking about this Miyazaki today. So Miyazaki has a very interesting form of storytelling where he doesn't generally like to tell stories with dialogue. A lot of the storytelling that exists within Dark Souls, especially, is half of it is architecture and environmental, especially because of the fact that most of what is being explored is not something that is living anymore. You're looking at something that has history attached to it almost solely in almost all the games. And
Oh yeah,
then
I mean,
and
I
then on
definitely
the
get the storytelling from the atmosphere for sure. Like because
um
everything is almost always in ruin or,
mhm,
has been through something that it's never like a perfect pristine building, like it feels
mhm.
like.
And then on top of that, there like the other half of the storytelling are the items that you find. Every single item has an item description in the game. And I mean, like the kind of the driving force and what pushes you to ambushes and things like that, the things that trick you, is finding new items. And I don't feel like there is some kind of there's something that you get from them other than just like it is a sword, it is a shield, it is a hat, it is a grass. Every single item has some kind of chunk of text attached to it that has some kind of interesting information that implies something that you don't know what it's talking about. And I
Um,
feel like for the people that have this kind of interest of a mystery in like when they don't understand something, they want to seek out that answer. I feel like that becomes intriguing. And the more that you pay attention to like reading that stuff, the more you actually fall into it and actually like really really get the story. But that's the thing.
right.
That's not everybody. You are not that person, I'm pretty sure you were about to say. And I am most definitely
Yeah.
not that person either. I don't have the fucking time of day for that. I have somewhat of a life that I try to lead every now and then. Not to not to say anything bad to ARG people. I just don't like I don't have that timing. That's not something
Right.
I own. But the thing is, though, there are people out there that do exist like that. The ARG people. There are a breed of people that are so wrapped and intertwined into discovering and solving mysteries that you just they have to figure it out. And they will document it for everybody else because that's their purpose. Sherlock Holmes is a great example. We love reading what that silly fake man did. We,
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
mystery.
and with like every game and TV series and movie that has a big fan base has its own like wiki with tons of information just documented by people who just really love that shit.
There's that thing. Like, there is not only, like, there aren't just the people that exist that do that research. There are the people that like to come in and consume it afterwards, almost like kind of consuming a little bit of history about some kind of case file, except it's about a video game or some kind of puzzle. You know, you're kind of
Yeah.
looking at the documentation of someone's. It's like looking at someone's fucking math homework, you know, in a way.
Hmm.
And I feel like there is some kind of similar fulfillment that you can get out of that, even if you're not the ultimate sleuth. I think
Well,
there's
yeah,
something.
I mean, there's a game called Gone Home that I really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed. And if you, I mean, what was good is also the narratives, like the cassette tapes and finding diary entries and things like that. But like without that, just exploring the house, you has a lot of storytelling as well, and I found that to be really, really, really fun. It's also really
Yeah,
fucking creepy. Like
yeah,
nothing
I've heard.
scary ever really happens in that game, but is it scary sometimes? Yeah.
Damn, spooks you out. I really missed out on that game because I was too much of a pussy wussy to try it. Why'd I say that? Anyway,
Yeah, no, I mean,
I that takes
you
a
did
point
miss
off.
out.
Yeah, it takes a point off my case, I guess. But regardless, so that's the thing. Did you watch any videos on YouTube, perchance, that explained some of that content to you at all? Just out of curiosity.
I waited until after I had finished like the game and figure because the whole premise of the game is figure out what happened where everybody like where's your sister?
Yeah.
Um, and there there's some things that can be left up to interpretation somewhat about I think your sister's relationship with spoiler alert another girl um which was
Hot. Sorry.
no, that was something that I was really intrigued by the sisters storyline and what happened there because of like she never outwardly is like I question my sexuality or whatever. It's like she starts being really good friends with this girl and it just really naturally transitions into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really cute but also kind of sad story if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I've played that game,
Damn.
but oh, it's been at least 5 years. Like at least
Huh.
a long time ago.
Damn, damn, damn. Yeah, but I guess all of this is to say my main hypothesis I'm trying to prove here is I don't believe I believe that like that video, like a lore analysis, like a video, like a story, an obtuse game or ending explanation, the end of a Shyamalan movie, whatever the fuck, you go on YouTube to find a video of someone explaining what the fuck it actually means. That I believe that there is no difference with ARG. I believe that the man making the video, that is the ARG soul, and us watching the video about this movie is the same thing as going and looking at this documentation of people doing these ARGs and just in the shock and awe of the puzzles that they solved. Because in a
Okay.
way, they're explaining and helping you understand this thing that there's no way you could have gotten to or gotten to an understanding of yourself, you know? They
Yeah.
are they are the super sleuth. They are Sherlock. They are the ARG man, you know?
ARG man.
So, in running with this theory, there is a certain man on YouTube called Vati Vidya who straight up gets fucking paid, who fucking knows how much at this point, to make lore content on Dark Souls specifically. And the way that it is presented and cobbled together and just polished to a degree of utmost professionalism, it feels that exact same feeling and that exact same vibe that I felt whenever I was digging through those ARGs. It was that same feeling when I was hearing
Hmm.
Vati go on and on about how the big fat man in Dark Souls 1 with the giant hammer crushes his victims and eats their bones, and that's why everyone hates him. I think it's the same thing.
Okay.
Here's the thing about Elden Ring. It is so much more vastly obtuse and complex than any of the other Souls games combined. It's like 5 different Soulsy plots layered on top of each other. There are characters that go by different names and did different things in different eras and shit. It's wild. There I have a feeling that like Miyazaki literally has worked with and done collaborations and given information to Mr. Vati Vidya at this point. I feel like Miyazaki is aware of the kind of culture that and the kind of people that he draws to his games. I almost feel like the lore aspect of his games, he wants to put that sort of detail into it to create almost this kind of he wants the detectives to find out his story because there's so
Mhm.
much to infer and all of it is so fragmented you have to piece it together like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And to find the puzzle pieces you have to play the game. And if you aren't good enough to understand it yourself, you have to go online and watch videos of the people who already figured it out and put it together ahead of you.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
in my and on top of it to prove to like really seal this deal, I feel like he cares about this in the way that he does in driving this specific point home in his games. He literally got George R. Martin, basically the only living version of a fantasy writer that created one of our fantasy universes that we use today. He got that guy to write the lore. The lore is that important to this game developer that he got the best lore writer that exists in current modern history to do it. I mean, that's debatable, but he got one of them at least.
Yeah, like I mean, a highly acclaimed at least. Like I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan. That's him, right?
Yeah. Yes, I think he's Lord of the
Sorry to
Rings.
offend everybody who's a Tolkien fan,
It's okay. I don't quite.
but
Oh shit. I don't know, dude.
no, but
Uh.
I mean, he's, I
Oh
can't
no
deny. I
no
mean,
no.
he's
George
a
R. R.
great
Martin was
writer.
Game of Thrones. He was Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay, Game of Thrones. Still, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, actually, I have read the insides of some of those books, the dirty parts, when we were in middle school.
Nice.
And 10 out of 10, great work.
Yeah, that's why there's a lot of weird family shit in Elden Ring too. When you get down to the lore as well, it definitely has his flavor. But yeah, this is my tight argument for why I think Elden Ring is actually kind of an ARG. Fight me.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you got something to say about ARGs or Mason's theory here, give us a shout at the what's our podcast email again?
I think it's wowtamail69.
Yeah,
It's in
watermail69
it's in
at
the description.
gmail.com
It's in the
in the
description.
description. Or you can hit us on any of our socials, Twitter, Instagram.
Mm-hmm. I look at that Twitter
Yeah.
daily. I look at that Twitter daily. Please hit me up on there.
You can also find our YouTube, which hopefully by the time we get this video uploaded, we'll also have a Wobble Dogs video for y'all. If you are interested in Wobble Dogs, Mason will put a link to that in the description as well,
Because I'm a slave
so
to
you
making
can check it
content.
out. Yeah.
Okay.
We're not sponsored by them. Just enjoyed the game.
Fuck yeah. Let's go wobble some dogs, Aubrey.
Alrighty, we're off to wobble some dogs. We'll see you next time.